Never argue with a clown because a clown has had more experience doing circus tricks and buffoonery. I'm Cassandra Mack, founder of StrategiesForEmpoweredLiving.com and CassandраMackMinistries.com. For more information about the company, the ministry, our books, or inspirational merch, you'll see the links in the video description box. So you never want to argue with an individual who's behaving like a clown. And by that, I want to be very clear. I am not speaking of an individual who is a professional and they have invested in their profession to perform for entertainment, theatrical production, children's parties. I'm not talking about that type of clown who is a professional clown paid to perform a particular service, right? I'm talking about the Cambridge definition. So the Cambridge Dictionary defines a clown as to act stupidly. So when you are around an individual who is acting stupidly, you want to be mindful to never argue with them. And I'm going to give you 4 reasons why it is a complete waste of your energy. So many people reach out to us in either the comments section or reaching out to us through the prayer request tab with this issue. And so a lot of times when I see multiple people reaching out about the same issue, I will make a video. And sometimes when I see certain questions in the comments section, because I don't have the time to answer questions individually, when time permits, sometimes I will make a video if enough people are asking the same question. So you never want to argue with a person who's behaving foolishly, right? Because they've had more experience being a fool. So here are 4 reasons. Number 1, when you argue with a person who is behaving stupidly, they will turn the conversation into a circular conversation, constantly moving the goalposts, keeping you around in circles. Think about this, right? So you go to work, we'll use the workplace, but it can be anywhere. And you're going to work to do your job, right? You're going to work to do your job, make a difference using your skills, make your money for the things that you need. And you have this one coworker who acts like a clown, and they constantly say something stupid. They constantly say something slick to provoke a response out of you. And you find yourself going back and forth because a lot of you reach out saying you get into arguments on the job with people who behave this way. And they will ask you a leading question to open you up for the real question so that they could pull the conversation in a circular direction, constantly moving the goalposts. And when a person asks you a leading question and you answer the question, the thing is no response you give them is going to be satisfactory because they're not really looking for an answer. The goal of asking the question is to discredit you and make you look stupid when people use this particular tactic. I want to be very clear. I'm not saying asking a question. The goal of asking a question is to make you look stupid, this particular tactic. So when individuals use the tactic of using a leading or initial question, but it's not the real motive, it's not the real question, to ask you another question to constantly move the goalpost so that no matter what answer you give, it's not going to satisfy them. It is a complete waste of time because they're really not looking for an answer from you. They're looking for a way to discredit you and to keep chopping down what you say. So in a situation like that, you give them your silence. You give them nothing because it is a complete waste of time. When you go to your job, you were there to make your money. It could be in a family situation. You go to a family gathering and you're visiting family or you're at the family gathering because you want to connect with people you haven't seen for a while. It's a special occasion, birthday party, baby shower, whatever it is. And you were there to enjoy the moment, not to get into circular conversations with people who try to come for you. And so it's important to understand that they will turn conversations into circular conversations. And unless you have time to waste, you don't want to get into that. And so don't argue with individuals who are dead set on trying to discredit you unless you're paid to debate. So if you are in a situation where you are paid to debate or you are running for a political office, and as a result of running for a political office, a professional debate is set up, then that is your goal. But if your goal is not to expend your energy debating with people, why waste your time? 2, and this is the big one, and I'm going to give you some scriptures. They have more experience being miserable, messy, toxic, and inappropriate. You are out of your element. You are out of your element when you were dealing with a fool. you're out of your element. And sometimes you got to realize when you are out of your element, there are plenty of people who I have said to them, you got it. I'm out of my element with you. You've won. You got it. You got it. And sometimes you got to recognize when you are out of your element. See, because if somebody gets off on being miserable, inappropriate, toxic, messy, they get off on trying to provoke people, trying to bait people into unnecessary arguments, and you are a peace-loving person who is about your business, who is about your goals and your dreams, who is about doing things that bring you joy and not being messy, you're not in your element. You're a fish out of water. Sometimes you have to admit that. If you're around a bunch of toxic people who engage in all kind of dysfunction and you're trying to get away from that, you are out of your element. Plenty of people who I have said, and they stopped speaking to me, and I do not care. I do not care. And so there are plenty of people that I'm like, I'm out of my element with you. You got it. And so let's say you're at a family gathering and there's this one cousin, this one family member that whenever they see you, it is always a competition. And you were there to enjoy the food. You're there to see grandma because you haven't seen her for a while. You're there to see Uncle so-and-so because he has jokes and he has everybody laughing. But there is this one family member who has this competition with you. And whenever anything good is going on in your life, and you might not even share it with them verbally, maybe you posted something on your social media, your page, you can do whatever you want. As long as you're following the rules of the platform. So you post something positive that happens in your life. And here comes the cousin. Well, I saw that you just took a cooking class. Well, I took a cooking class 3 years ago. So what? And you're like, I'm not even talking to you about my cooking class. I'm over here asking grandma how she's been. And no matter what's going on, or maybe you graduated from college, or you got an advanced degree, and you're talking to someone else. Well, you're not the only one that could get a degree, and you're not even talking to them. So you have to understand that when you are around an individual who is miserable, they got more experience than you being miserable. If you are on the path to peace, to joy, to fulfillment, if you are around someone who has more experience constantly overstepping the bounds of other people and they're messy and inappropriate, they in their lane. They have more experience. You out of your element. Sometimes you just got to be like, you know what, cousin so-and-so? You got it. I'm out of my element with you. Well, what you mean you out of my... The little inside thing. I'm just out of my element. God bless you. You got it. Don't go back and forth. They're going to be mad. They're going to be mad. Because if a person's goal is to be messy and they want to pull you into the mess, and you are taking a strong stance that I will not be provoked, I will not be triggered, I will not be controlled by you, you are not in control of this. You are not. And no matter what you say to me, you are not going to get the reaction you're looking for. I didn't come here for this. You're not saying all of that, but you're saying it. And sometimes the best thing is you got it. Well, I don't see the big deal that you got a new car. And maybe, you got a new car. You're not bragging about your new car. They could look out the window and see your car because it's parked outside. So you got your new car. You're at the family gathering and they're like, well, so you ain't the only one with a new car. So what? 5 years ago or 1973, I had a new car. And you know what? You got it. I'm out of my element. You got it. Well, what you mean you out of your element? You think you better than me? Nope. You got it. You better than me. I'm out of my element. See, you better than me when it comes to being miserable and messy. I can't compete. You got it. Now, you don't need to say all that. You can just say, you got it. I'm out of my element. But sometimes you have to come to the realization that you are out of your element. If a person is constantly motivated by envy, and you are motivated by your goals and the things that you're trying to do moving forward, and every time they see anybody, it's not even personal to you. Anytime they see anybody doing something positive or making strides in their lives, making progressive movement, they try to come for their goals and their dreams. If you're dealing with that personality type, you are your element. They got more experience being envious and coming after people's goals and dreams. You can't compete. You don't even want to compete. You're not even in the race with them. Do you drive in your lane? I can't compete. I'm out of my element. You surely got this thing. You got it. Well, you're not the only one that lost weight. I lost weight. You got it. Yes, you did. You got it. See, sometimes you got to get in the headspace. I am out of my element. And the more you talk and open up your mouth, the clearer that I am, that I'm out of my element. We're not even speaking the same language. We're not even speaking the same language. You are speaking the language of insecurity and envy, and I am speaking the language of favor, success, and blessings. There's a communication issue. They're going to get so mad. So be careful. So I'm not saying you want to say this to people. What I'm saying is that this is the thinking, because when this is the thinking, what happens is it enables you to put guardrails around your mouth so that you are not engaging in things that don't produce. You are not engaging in things that don't feed you, fuel you, or fortify you. You are not engaging in conversations that add absolutely no value to your life. You're there to talk to grandma and get grandma's wisdom. You're there to hear Uncle so-and-so's jokes so you can have some laughs and just have a good time and take a load off. You are not there for your cousin's competition. 3, when you expend your God-given resources of mental attention, emotional energy, and conversation to a fool, you're choosing to prolong your interaction with a fool. Think about that. The more that you sit there and go back and forth, well, why do you always have to one-up me all the time? Why can't you be happy for me? They can't be happy for you because you out of your element. That was established in number 2. You out of your element. Their element is messiness and dysfunction. You're out of your element. That's like asking, why can't a diamond be a plain old rock? 2 different things. And I'm not saying that to be mean, because sometimes people think that harsh truths are mean. So you don't want to expend your God-given resources of mental attention, emotional energy, and conversation to a person who is dead set on bringing drama and toxicity, because you're prolonging your interaction with a fool. And so here's why it's never a good idea, and I'm going to give you some scriptures. Proverbs 18:2 says this: a fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion. This is the Bible, Proverbs 18:2. So one of the ways that you know you're dealing with a fool is they're not even trying to understand where you're coming from. So when you get baited and you try to express yourself, and they involve you in circular conversations, and all they do is express their opinion, but they don't want to hear your opinion, and they're the ones that came to you. I want to be very clear. They brought the conversation to you. You minding your business. They take no pleasure in understanding. They don't want to understand how you see it. They don't want to understand where you come from. They don't care, because their goal is not to come to a mutual understanding. Their goal is only in expressing their opinion. So if they have an opinion that they think you cute, if they have an opinion that they think you are all that, and they want to knock you down a couple of pegs, they don't want to understand the hard work you put in. They don't want to understand the sleepless nights, the sacrifices you made financially, all the things that you could not do so that you could save the money to buy the car. You can insert the particular thing, but they take no pleasure in understanding and only expressing their opinion. Here's why you don't want to get into an argument with them. Proverbs 29:11 says, a fool gives full vent to his spirit, but a wise man quietly holds it back. See, once you've already established that you're dealing with a fool, right? Once you've already established that you are dealing with someone who enjoys engaging in messiness, who enjoys spreading misery, who enjoys spreading toxicity, who enjoys just acting stupid, right? When you've established that, and they give full vent to their spirit. So if they're stuck on stupid, they're going to give full vent to their stupidity. Why in the world would you prolong an interaction of stupidity? Why would you want to prolong that? Your interaction with a person who's in that space. So when you have a conversation, your words are energy. So you're giving your good energy to someone who's giving full vent to their spirit. Now you could pray for the fool, but you don't need to join the fool in their foolery. So a fool gives full vent to his spirit, but a wise man quietly holds back. And so part of your silence is holding back, that I see what I'm dealing with, and this is not the best use of my God-given resources of mental focus, emotional energy, time. I don't need to be giving my energy to this. So I'm going to hold back. They are stuck on stupid. That is a job for Jesus. And if you missed my video on who needs to go on your job for Jesus list, listen to that video. Who needs to go on your job for Jesus list? There are some people right now that you need to stop getting caught up in their foolery, and you need to put them on their job for Jesus. I'm going to pray for them from a distance, but they are a job for Jesus. So this is key. This is key. Now, Proverbs 29:9 says, if a wise man has an argument with a fool, the fool only rages and laughs, and there is no quiet. So when you give your wisdom to somebody who's stuck on stupid, they get off on that because they're pulling from your wisdom, bringing you down a notch. From a distance, when you see two people arguing, you don't know who started the argument, what the argument is about. You just see two people arguing. So in most cases, you put them in the same category because you can't really tell the difference. And so if you are differentiating yourself as a person who does their best to follow the wisdom of the Bible, and none of us are perfect, we all fall short of the glory, myself included. But understand that when you give your energy, your conversation to someone who wants to pull you in the direction of disturbing your peace, stealing your joy, diminishing your accomplishments, diminishing your presence, invalidating you as a human being, competing with you when you're not even in a race with them. You are in your own lane following what God has been speaking to you about concerning your purpose and destiny. They're not even on your radar, but you're on theirs. And so when you argue with a fool, there is no quiet. That means there's no peace. That's what that's saying. How can you have peace when you're being pulled in a circular conversation? Because when you're dealing with a fool who has to have the last word, no matter what you say, you say, they say, you say, well, and it never ends. I mean, like, you got it. Whatever the last or whatever the last word is, I am out of my element. This is so your element. I'm out of my element. You got it. You've won. You won. Sometimes you got to let people know you've won. You've won because I have no dog in this fight. You've won the stupidity contest. Yes, you did. You get the crown. You've won the one-upping contest. You get the crown that you are the individual who wins the prize for the most one-ups. Ta-da! You got it. See, people going to get mad because when people cannot control you, this is it. When people cannot control you emotionally, who are disturbed by your presence for whatever reason, it could be your appearance, it could be your accomplishments, it could be the way people respond to you because you're a loving person, it could be the way people respond to you because a lot of people have respect for you because you're knowledgeable in a particular area, whatever the thing is. When an individual has issues with you and they are disturbed because of your presence, you have to understand that that is their issue. Do not let other people pull you in the direction of their emotional space. So if they're in the emotional space of envy, that's a job for Jesus. They got to put that on the altar. That is not your responsibility. These are not your minor children. And so in these situations, and we're talking about dealing with adults, I want to be clear on this channel, that's what we deal with. So when that happens, stay focused. Stay focused, stay focused. And then the last scripture I'm going to give you is Proverbs 18:7 that says, a fool's mouth is his ruin, and his lips are a snare to his soul. So when you're dealing with a fool, their mouth, the things that they say, the things that come out of their mouth, that's their downfall. So when you are dealing with someone who clearly is on the path to downfall because they want to spread their misery, They want to take their envy out on you. They want to one-up you. They just want to provoke you to knock you down a peg because you are a person who comes to work, you mind your business, you do your job, and you're focused. And they want to knock you down because you don't get caught up in the shenanigans. It is important to understand that their mouth is their ruin. Don't let your mouth be your ruin. That's on them. So their mouth is their ruin, and their lips are a snare. A snare is a trap. So their lips are a snare to their soul. The soul is the mind, the emotions, and the will. And so their own mouth is what keeps them trapped mentally, emotionally, and it keeps them trapped in choices that undermine and undercut their value as a human being. And it's a sad situation. You don't wish that on anybody. It's a sad situation that they can't find their peace. It's a sad situation that they can't find their joy. It's a sad situation that they can't appreciate the good qualities that God put in their life. It's a sad situation that they don't want to make changes and put in the work, if that's the issue, to be the best version of themselves that they could be. You can't do that for nobody. Each and every one of us has free will. You can pray for them. You can pray that God bless them. You can pray that God show them the beautiful things that he put inside of them. You could pray that they find the wherewithal to turn their lives around. Whatever you are going to pray for, that's between you and God. But you can pray for this individual. You can hope that, they turn their lives around, but you can't make anybody do anything. And so understand that it is their own mouth, according to Proverbs 18:7, that brings them down, that brings them to ruin. And their lips are a snare. So when a person is trapped in envy, when a person is trapped in resentment, right? When a person is psychologically trapped in a miserable place, because the snare is a trap, the soul is the mind, the emotions, and the will. So that word soul comes from the Greek word psyche, where we get psychology. So when a person's own lips entrap them psychologically, that's an inside job. And sometimes people will think, well, maybe if I out-argue them. No, you got to let them be. You got to let them be. And then the fourth reason you don't want to expend your energy arguing with someone who is stuck on stupid is that needlessly arguing and stressing takes a toll on your mental and physical health. You need your physical body to be able to put in the physical labor to do the things that you were called to do, to accomplish your goals, to complete your tasks, whatever those tasks are, to execute your primary priorities, to implement these things. You do that through physical labor. And then you need your mind. Your mind is the place that houses your dreams and your goals and your ideas and your peace. So you need these things. And when you're needlessly arguing and stressing with someone, over time, it does take a toll if this is constant. But by choosing to conserve your energy, you are better able to choose to expend your energy in direction that brings you peace, that increases your joy, and that fuels your purpose. This is something within your control. It is your mental energy. And so remember, you never want to argue with a fool, because a fool delights in ignorance. Why would you want to expend your energy with someone who delights in ignorance? And again, for those who are offended by the word fool, it is in the Bible. And I always say that if I am not for you, I am not for you. I'm not for everyone. So if it's offensive to you, you need to find somebody who resonates with you if I'm not it. God bless you. So you remember that the next time you are at work or in a social setting or at a family gathering and you start to get an inkling that you were dealing with somebody who is stuck on stupid, that you were dealing with someone who enjoys behaving like a fool, you remind yourself, I'm out of my element. I am out of my element with this individual. I'm out of my element because my element is not envy. My element is not messiness. My element is not misery. My element is not spreading toxicity. So I got to admit that I'm out of my element. You got it. You won. You get the crown. You the king of messy. You the queen of toxicity. You got it. Now, you don't need to say this with words because that can cause unnecessary arguments. You say it with your actions by withdrawing your energy, by cutting the conversation short. No one can forcibly make you talk. So by cutting the conversation short, by changing the subject, and by placing your focus elsewhere. So I hope you found today's video helpful. For those of you who wrote in that you are specifically dealing with this issue, that is who this video was for. So I want to share some resources with you very quickly. So I want to make sure that you know about our prayer books. So we have in the Simple Prayer series, there are simple prayers to pray when you don't know what to say, simple prayers to pray to support your mental health. And these are brief, immediate prayers, Bible-based prayers at your fingertips when you need a quick prayer. The books are small, brief books, and they're meant to be small so that you're not overwhelmed, that you can fit in your pocketbook, in your jacket pocket. You can take it with you so that when you are like, I want to pray about this situation. I want to pray about guidance. You can go to the book. You can you can go to the table of contents. You look at the prayer that you want to pray about on that day, and it starts with a corresponding scripture. So it gives you the exact scripture. If you want to pray for wisdom, the scripture for wisdom is there. If you want to pray to reduce stress, the scripture about dealing with anxiety is there. If you're feeling depressed, the scripture for that is there. So you're going to the exact scripture. You're praying the scripture, and then you're going into the prayer. And for a lot of people, the way that they use this book, right, is that the book really is to jumpstart their prayer life. And then sometimes they'll say a few words of the prayer, then they put the book down and they're just talking to God on their own, saying their own prayer, not from the book. But the book is like a activator or a springboard. So that's simple prayers to pray when you don't know what to say. And the other book that I think is really important for those of you who are in a place where you are zero focus, like you are laser beam focused on your goals, is See It, Speak It, Write It, Do It, the 2023 journal. So the See It, Speak It, Write It, Do It is a goal-setting journal and success planner. I come out with this every year. And make sure it says 2023 because there's a few of them. So you want to get the 2023 version. And it provides you with a centralized space for writing down your vision for this year, your goals, mapping out your goals weekly, breaking them down into tasks and to-dos. There are weekly to-do pages. There are project and idea planning pages. There are calendar pages. So that whatever your goals and your dreams are, you have it in a centralized space. And this is really helpful if you are a small business owner, if you are an entrepreneur. So if you are a YouTuber or you have a podcast, you are an entrepreneur. And this will be helpful in terms of breaking down the topics you're going to talk about, scheduling your YouTube videos, scheduling your podcast. If you're in ministry, scheduling the different things that you do relative to building your ministry, and just in your personal life, whatever your goals and your dreams are. So that's See It, Speak It, Write It, Do It. All of my books are available at Amazon. Many are available at Barnes and Nobles. Some are available at Walmart and Target, but they are all available at Amazon. And the links to all of the books are in the video description box. So you can just click and then you can browse through there. I also want to invite you to channel membership. So if you want to go into advanced life skills concepts, so we're going to be doing some more things with our membership. So there are 3 tiers of membership. There's one tier where you can have access to the recordings of Church by Phone, the weekly recordings. There is another level of membership where you have access to a monthly devotional ebook from me every month with a different theme. So that's another level of membership where you have access to that. So it's exclusive content, more deeper dive content. And again, if you want the recordings for the Church by Phone service, Church by Phone itself is always free, always open to the public. But if after the fact you want a copy of the recording, then that is available through YouTube channel membership. So with that being said, let's have a fruitful day. Let's have a productive day. Let's be kind and do not let these fools get you down or pull you in a direction that does not serve your highest good. So with that being said, take care.